Imagine, just for a second, stepping way. You're standing under this gorgeous golden hour saffron sky, and stretching out in every direction is just an endless sea of dusty. It's so quiet. You know that heavy, profound kind of silence you only feel in places holding massive, forgotten secrets? Well, welcome to today's. We're diving into a chapter of human history that honestly just shatters our entire timeline of human progress. We're looking into Global 19's investigation of the Indus Valley. And let me tell you, this is a journey that uncovers the absolutely mind-blowing high civilization that was literally thousands of years ahead of its time.
Pakistan ki Sindh ka tapta Registan. Just picture that. The scorching desert of Sindh, Pakistan. Relentless sun-baked landscape beating down on you. Because for centuries, this incredibly desolate expanse hid a sprawling, ancient secret right beneath its shore. We're talking about a place where history was buried so incredibly deep that the modern world completely forgot it even existed. But then, well, a discovery was made that forced archaeologists to basically throw out the textbooks and start from scratch.
Okay, let's dive into this. Imagine digging in the primitive dirt and suddenly emerging right out of the earth is this flawlessly laid, sun-baked brick wall. If you look closely at the 8K textures of these burnt bricks, the precision here is absolutely mesmerizing. We aren't talking about rough stones just stacked haphazardly on top of each other, right? This is absolute mathematical perfection. When this wall was first unearthed, it honestly didn't even look like it looked deliberately engineered. And really, that's exactly what makes this whole archaeological site so incredibly fascinating for us to explore. Now, to really grasp this, we have to look at the staggering global context of 4,000 years ago. So while the vast majority of the rest of the world was living in, incredibly simple, basically mud huts, just trying to survive the elements, this specific city, Mohenjo-Daro, was thriving as a fully advanced urban metropolis. It's just wild. We aren't talking about some minor technological advantage here. We're looking at a leap in urban development that is entirely, completely. It shouldn't exist, but there it is. And this brilliantly illustrates just how far ahead they were. They didn't just build homes, they engineered a complete ecosystem. Look at this digital reconstruction showing how the city looked in its prime. They utilized a highly calculated grid system layout, which, is something we usually associate with modern cities like New York or Chicago. They built multi-story houses. And perhaps the most mind-blowing part of the whole, comprehensive underground drainage system. The source material points out that this ancient plumbing would literally put a lot of modern cities to shame today. You can clearly see it in the absolute mastery of the watertight brickwork at places like the Great Bath. I mean, they maintained a standard of living and hygiene that humanity wouldn't see again for millennia. But how does a city this magnificent, this technologically brilliant, just end? Let's pivot from their livable genius to a much more chilling reality. You see, Mohenjo-Daro is not what its original inhabitants called it. Actually, it translates directly to the Mound of the Dead. Yeah, the bustling, high-tech metropolis of the ancient world is known to us today only by a name that reflects tragic finality. And this right here brings us to the true mystery of this vanished society. Usually, when we look at the collapse of ancient empires, we find pretty clear markers. We find battlefields, scattered weapons, obvious signs of a massive war or an invasion, or we find huge monuments to egotistical kings who brought their own society to ruin. But Mohenjo-Daro, it has none of that. Literally zero signs of war, no grand monuments to tyrannical rulers anywhere. The real mystery isn't just how beautifully they lived, but how suddenly they died. Which brings us to our final and definitely most provocative question. How did thousands of people simply vanish? The archaeological evidence shows people going about their daily lives and then, suddenly, just stopping. The source material highlights a really striking anomaly that researchers debate heavily. Among the remains left behind, skeletons show signs of radiation. Now, we are simply reporting what the source presents here. We're not taking sides or validating ancient nuclear theories. But the sheer existence of these claims underscores just how deeply perplexing the end of Mohenjo-Daro truly is. Think about it. An advanced, completely peaceful grid city gets erased from the earth, leaving behind a scorching desert and a 4,000-year-old mystery. If a society that incredibly advanced can disappear without, what does that mean for our modern world today?